trying to establish from your party whether you think prayer should be criminalised.
I think conversion therapy should be criminalised.
But is prayer to change someone's sexuality conversion therapy?
I think conversion therapy should be criminalised, and it's clear that whatever guise it might come in, whether it is in the form of faith or pseudo-psychiatric service, it is dangerous. It has been identified as being dangerous,
sure,
and it should be outlawed.
Okay, but to be clear, do you think religious activity, including prayer, should be criminalised? It is a simple question.
We said we're going to vote against the amendment. I mean,
but the amendment says that legitimate religious activity does not.
Therapy is wrong.
Is prayer
into a position where they feel that they are wrong and they have to change themselves?
Well, I'm just getting frustrated, Séamas, because I'm having to ask this question about 20 times, and I'm just trying to get a simple answer for the public. Do you believe prayer to change someone's sexuality is a legitimate religious activity, or should it be made unlawful?
I don't believe it's legitimate. I think it's coercive, and I think it puts LGBT people in a very dangerous position. And I applaud those from religious organisations who have stood up and said that they are opposed to DUP's amendment today, who support the motion from the Ulster Unionist Party, and are calling on the Communities Minister to bring forward the legislation as soon as possible to outlaw conversion therapy in Northern Ireland.
So I think what you've said is that you would, therefore, your party would criminalise prayer. Once you're doing that, then how do you start interpreting which parts of the Bible and your interpretation of Scripture is lawful or not? So if someone is basing that prayer upon their reading of the Bible, you're then making someone's interpretation of the Bible unlawful. Are you not?
I really think this is a line of discussion, Stephen, that you know, we're getting into ridiculousness, and the reason why we're getting into ridiculousness is because you're asking LGBT people to justify their existence.
No, I'm not.
And
please don't say that, because you know I'm not doing that. Please don't say that.
Let me finish.
Please do not twist and misrepresent me, and you know I'm not saying that.
To justify the basic concept and idea that we wish to protect LGBT people from a harmful and dangerous practice, one which has been outlined as being harmful and dangerous by psychiatric and psychological associations in Britain and the United States and in Ireland, where legislation has been introduced in other parts of the world to outlaw it, and has made it very clear that it doesn't matter whether it is in the guise of faith or anything else, that this is a harmful and dangerous
But rather,
practice.
Séamas, and look, let's not personalise this, but rather than you misrepresent me, what I'm doing here is bringing this into the real world, because your party are legislators, and the legislation needs to be clear, which is why I was pushing you, on whether prayer needs to be unlawful or not in this context, because your party are part of an executive which creates legislation. And all I'm asking for today is, can we be clear as to what your party would seek to legislate for? And from what you've said, you would make prayer that someone changes their sexuality unlawful. Now, how you begin to police that, how you begin to prosecute that, is that even possible? This is the real world, isn't it?
Clear. We need to see what the draft legislation looks like from the Communities Minister